Even when we have drought, they can still be high. And that's because once they're already there, they don't need water anymore. All they need is high humidity. Now, to me, high humidity is hot and sticky, 80, 90, 100% humidity, but not in the allergy world. The allergy world, it is 50% and over. We have that almost all the time. You don't even feel that. But those mold spores lay in the ground and just absorb that moisture right out of the humid air, and that keeps them fat and happy. 3 seasons out of 4 are what we have to worry about outdoors when you're allergic to mold spores. Spring and summer, it's because people are cutting the grass. You get out there with that lawnmower and that blade is whipping around like that and it's churning up the mold spores, shooting it out right along with that grass pollen you're allergic to. So that's a double whammy for you. Fall time is when the leaves drop. Leaves lay around. They get wet. They stick together. The sun comes out, bakes them, and they sprout more mold spores. Well, what do? We go get the leaf blower. We rake, we burn, we mulch with the mower. Even if you're sitting outside enjoying a pretty day and the wind is blowing enough that it's whipping all the leaves up, it's putting those mold spores right up the air, and guess who's breathing it? It's all going right up into you. Indoors, it's bathrooms and basements. Bathrooms, you see it. It's mildew, those little black spots. And if you can stand the smell, anything with bleach will be really good at killing that. Usually right around your shower area is the worst point for that. Basements, you don't see, you smell. It's a musty smell. If you notice that, one of the best things you can do is get a dehumidifier. This, you set it low. You want it below 50%, remember, but you set it low, and what it does is it takes the extra moisture out of the air, humidity down, and it makes it too dry for mold to grow. So that will really help. Now let's talk about your kitty. Your cat is a problem. Not only are you allergic to it, you have it in the bedroom. And that's a no-no, but I know you're not going to change, so we're going to talk what we can do about it. There is a product called Allerpet. This is sold at some places. I know Pet and Aquatic Warehouse on Wards Road has it. All your pet shops have got something. Even your vet will have something. A lot of people have pets they're allergic to and they're not going to give them up. But what this is, it's zeroing in on the problem that pets cause, and that's their dander. It's dead skin flakes, that's all it is. But animals are like people. Some of us are drier than others. And cats especially are a little bit more allergenic than dogs and other animals because when they lick themselves all the time, and when they lick, they're actually pulling that dander out into their hair. The saliva dries it there, and then they go rub up against the sofa and your pant legs and the bed, and they leave their hair behind. At this point, you don't need kitty anymore. You're going to react to what's there. The problem is they also have a protein in their saliva. There's another double whammy right there. You can't do anything about that protein, and you're not going to make your cat stop licking. So what can you do? You can get a moisturizer, and that's what this is. It's a moisturizer that you rub on them. They absorb it, so at least now when they lick, there's not as much dander that's loose and coming off onto their hair. So that helps in another way as well. All right, let's talk for a few minutes about chemical irritants. When you have allergies, that means the lining of your nose, your eyes, your lungs, your skin, even your ears are more sensitive than that of someone who does not have allergies. You can get into things I can't even test for. I can't test a perfume and smoke and things like that. But just to give you an idea, ragweed you are allergic to. If ragweed is not blooming, though, look at this. Ragweed is still in the family of chrysanthemums, cosmos, dahlias, zinnias, marigolds, and sunflowers. They're like kissing cousins to ragweed. You can have them outside, let them look pretty, but don't bring them in and put them in a vase because that's like bringing ragweed into your home. Chemical fumes like paint, gasoline, mothballs, even some of the cleaning products we use are very, very smelly, and sometimes that'll really bother you. What may bother you may not bother me, and vice versa. So it's an individual type thing. And it's never usually one thing that gives you a bad day. If your allergies are already acting up and then you get around some of these chemical irritants, that may be the thing that puts you off on a bad day. And if you haven't noticed by now, a bad allergy day is not one day. It usually takes several days for things to calm down and go back to normal. Do you read newspapers real early in the morning? That you may not have noticed. You'll have to do this as an experiment tomorrow morning when you read your paper, but very early in the morning, sometimes you notice you get black fingers. The ink is not dry yet, and they put formaldehyde in the printer's ink. Formaldehyde is odorless, but it's a chemical irritant to some people. So as you're flipping pages through, that might be something that's kind of wafting its way up at your nose. And so if you notice as you read the paper tomorrow morning, your symptoms are increased, that may be something that's bothering you. Really, the only thing you can do about it is to put the paper down, let it sit for a little while and then read it a little bit later. Tobacco smoke, especially in crowded rooms and cars. People don't actually have to be puffing in front of you, smoking right there. Some people reek of smoke. It's in their clothes, their hair. That is actually enough to bother you that day if you're already having other symptoms. It doesn't take much sometimes to set you off. Strongly scented soaps, perfumes, colognes, hair care products. We prefer you get anything unscented, aerosol, non-aerosol products, things like that. That will all help. Dust, we know what dust looks like on furniture. Watch out though for cardboard boxes. They hold a lot of dust, and they can actually, if they're in a humid part of your home, they will actually absorb that humidity or that moisture and get moldy. Anything you can put in a tub or a tote, like Rubbermaid, Sterilite, they always put them on sale right after Christmas. And so that's a good time to stock up, but that will keep a lot of that dust out of there. Freshly swept rooms, this is like brooms. Now on a bare floor, I love Swiffers. That really holds the dust. But if you've got a regular old-fashioned broom, you're not only stirring up dust, you're stirring up dust mite poop. It's just putting it all back up in the air, which you're going to breathe that. And so it's better to do something that's really going to hold the dust. Don't use brooms. Gravel or dirt roads. I don't know if you live around a gravel or dirt road, but especially in the summer when it's so dry, that's when we usually have our droughts. That dust is flying all over the place as you're going down that road. Your nose really doesn't care if it's gravel dust or house dust. It doesn't like it up in there. Keep windows closed in your car. Strong air currents, we prefer your windows be kept closed as much as possible, especially in pollen seasons, because once you've opened that window, whatever pollen and mold spores are out there coming into your house, and now you've got to deal with that inside as well as outside. Do you all have a live Christmas tree at Christmas? Okay, that's good. Now, there's one thing I want to talk to you about with furnace filters. There is a good one out. 3M puts it out. It's called Filtrete. The main thing about this that really works well or better than the little cheap ones that we used to use is that it's pleated. I don't care about the brand name. It's the pleating that really traps more dust. And I tell patients you can find this in just about any store around here. But if you can't afford to have it year-round, then at least do it during the winter. When the heat's turned on, the house is closed up, there's more dust, but that pleating will trap more of that dust, okay? Now, this is just more about the air cleaners that we talked about. We talked about the true HEPA filtered ones, which is what we recommend. The ionizers we do not recommend, mainly because they produce ozone. Ozone is the primary pollutant in air pollution. Shouldn't be in your home anyway, but it is known lung irritant. If you have any thoughts of having asthma, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, that could bring it on sooner or make it worse, and it's not worth that. Just get the right kind. Even if you have to put a little more money to it, get a good one, and you'll notice a big difference with that. Lastly, if you follow these few rules along with the treatment the doctor gives you, you should start to see a benefit at least within about 3 months. Definitely within 6 months, you ought to know you've got more energy. Generally, you are feeling better. And as you start to feel better, we get excited too, because we know we're doing its job, that everything we're doing is making you build up more natural immunity. And that's how little by little you get off of these and you do well. And that's what we're waiting for. We're excited for you to do better. And when you feel better, we're going to be happy too.